Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Eddie Marcus once again. Today's date is the 21st of January, and it is the day that's been set aside to honor a magnificent man who was truly a representative of a spirit of love, who talked about God, and I guess during our generational time is the most visible expression of what God's love is. And that man was Dr. Martin Luther King. Today is a day that we celebrate his living, and this is the day that I usually set aside to honor Dr. King by making presentations from my own heart. Today I'm doing it a little bit different. I usually try to dress up, honor Dr. King with my looks, but today I'm not going to try to do that. I've made some notes, some things that I've recognized over the past period of time, and I wanted to make sure that I didn't miss them, and at the same time I didn't want to spend so much time that I got a speech. I'm not trying to do a speech. I'm just trying to share some facts, and in doing that I have a note here that says, on King Day, heaven on earth as in heaven, heaven on earth, should I say, as in heaven on earth. And I would like to use that for a subject, but there's something else that stays on my mind that overwhelms that. And it basically asks the question, God, where are your children? Where are your children? You know, ladies and gentlemen, I've heard it said that this problem that we have with right and wrong in the human country comes from something that happened back in the beginning. It is said that it started in the garden. You know, you've heard the expression that Lucifer was able to mess up heaven by his rap, his lies, and his deception. And people, or should I say angels, got caught up in it. And the next thing you know, that lie was running heaven, and a third of the host had bought into it. Well, I understand the story goes that they kicked that Luciferian devil out of heaven, and apparently he stopped down here on earth somewhere. And when the moment came that human beings were on the earth, two of them were set aside for this particular story, Adam and Eve. And the indication is that God had given them instructions about how to continue to have on earth, in the garden, as it is in heaven. But one major rule that they had to obey, apparently everything was open to them, but don't eat this apple, don't bite off this apple, and I have translated that to mean don't disobey me for another. And so when you do that, then you got a big problem, you got a major confusion, and you don't know what's right or what's wrong because you've tested wrong. That's something else, isn't it? Now, I was thinking about trying to express that in a way that you might understand. I thought about some other rules that you might be familiar with. Now, we talk about fornication. Now, they say fornication has to do with engaging yourself in sex before the planned time. The planned time meaning usually when you have gone through a lot of learning in life, you have associated yourself with the opposite sex, and you find some natural things begin to happen between you because it is time more or less for the replenishing of the earth and your role to play in it. But it says that if you just wait till the time when you are ready, you know, like your parents tell you at home, girls, don't be out there having sex because the boy get you pregnant ain't thinking about you. Most girls listen to that, but a few don't. And the boys, well, some boys might hear, don't go out there and do that, but in a society we live in today, they kind of glorify that. A boy ain't got it going on unless he go out there and do some deceptive stuff like this. But there's something else that they don't talk about when they talk about fornicating. One thing you'll do when you abstain from fornicating is that you keep yourself special, male and female. You keep yourself uniquely special for that moment when it is prescribed as being the appropriate time. And at that time, with all other things working, the way you're thinking and the way that person is thinking. You know, we say no two people, no two individuals should be unequally yoked together. Your mind set to the left and somebody else is to the right don't mean you got everything covered. It must mean you're going to be pulling at odds with one another. So you don't do that. You make sure that this is the one based upon what you understand to be real and what you accept and appreciate. Now, if you follow this practice, what I'm basically saying to you, ladies and gentlemen, is that you're saving yourself from an additional problem that I would like to maybe mention a bit when I take it to the next level. You know, it is also said that do not commit adultery. Now, committing adultery means, and these are rules and regulations that is protecting your life. Don't commit adultery is basically saying that if you got a significant other, you're married, y'all took the vows and everything, whether it was publicly, whether it was to God or just to you, you made this distinction. Now, let's just assume that you are blessed and you did not fornicate, you didn't do anything, and so all of a sudden you and your mate really got it going on, and everything seemed to be smooth in your life. But that doesn't mean just because things are smooth in your life, you're not going to be challenged. So that same thing that was able to work for people who engaged in fornication, although it didn't work for them there, but now they are married, and so that same element is out there stalking at them. Now, you've instructed said don't fornicate. Now, what are the dangers of fornicating? Committing adultery. First of all, you find yourself that you're no longer trustworthy. Not only that, you yourself, you don't trust yourself. Your spouse, if they ever find out about it, don't trust you. And the people that you're fornicating with, excuse me, something about this fornicating that won't let me go. Committing adultery won't turn you loose with. Now, there's another danger that happens in adultery. Let's say that you have kept yourself the way you should have kept yourself. Some people say pure, but I don't want to use that word. Let's just say you kept yourself cool. And now this element comes around and stalks you and beat at you, bite off the salad, beat at you. And so you decide to give in and commit adultery. Now all of a sudden you find out that you got a problem with your spouse, one way or the other. Why? What you're doing, you're comparing this one with that one, this one with that one. And then maybe a reason to go on and try this one with that one. Now you're going all over the place. What? Commit adultery because you have stuck yourself in a situation that opened up a door for you to do kinds of things that blowing your mind. And one of the worst things that could happen, well, I ain't going to say worse, but another terrible thing that can happen out with that is you can start replenishing the earth with a whole bunch of mama's babies and daddy's maybes. And you know there's a lot of that going on in the world. So these things about fornicating and committing adultery has real significant value whether people know it or not. Now, not when King and I and others who talk about God, and if we're serious about God, we're talking about some things that represent God. We talk about, for instance, God as being love. Love for yourself, love for God, and love for others on earth as in heaven, which also means love for everyone. It doesn't just mean you and your spouse, you and your siblings, you and your family. It says love for everyone. That's representative. That's the unique representation of God's love. But just like there's God's love, there's another love that to talk about. It's the love of self. And while God's love might produce as in heaven on earth, the other will produce hell on earth. It's going to produce hell on earth. And what is it? It is love for self. Nobody else except perhaps your supporters. And that's living. Studying history or living today and observing things, that is the broadest indication that this is hell on earth. Now, to give you another little bit of indication of how this message is relevant, for those of you who remember the story about the rich young ruler The rich young ruler supposedly had heard about Christ, Jesus, and wanted to, that was a respectable thing, loving people and treating people good. You couldn't knock that. And so this young rich ruler came up to Jesus one day and said, "Good master, what can I do to be saved? I want to be saved too. This place you keep talking about, beyond this spot, I'd like to get there too. So what would I have to do?" So Jesus' response to him was to take everything that he has, all his wealth and stuff, and go get rid of it. Take your wealth, take the stuff that you got, material stuff, and sell it. That's Caesar stuff. It doesn't mean anything on God's side. So go sell that and give it to the poor. Now that's, you've taken the devil's stuff, you get rid of it, and now you're using it for God's purpose, for those who are suffering. For those who are suffering. I repeat that again. Using it for those who are suffering. That's why you hear me talking about the suffering all the time. Well, the rich young ruler know that that was asking quite a lot. He was asking Jesus, what must he do to be saved? But now Jesus telling him what he told him, and he said, I wasn't asking for that, because money, my wealth, these are the things that I depend on in this life. These are the things that I need right now. So if I get rid of this right now, you can imagine, how am I going to survive? See, he wasn't really thinking about what Jesus' plan of love was. He was just thinking about this thing, because he had his God. He wasn't missing anything but salvation. And salvation called on him to express himself in a certain kind of way that he just said, oh no, I can't do that. And ladies and gentlemen, that's the same thing that's happening in our societies today. We have been tricked to believe that the method of acquiring all of those things that are essential in your life for survival, according to the trickster, according to your liar, is to use money, as opposed to respect for God and God's plan. You get money, and after you've been divided by the lies and deception, and you start using the money, everything seems to work out in a strange kind of way, but nevertheless, that is the way of the world. Now, I thought I just wanted to mention that sometime years ago, for those of you who study history, there was a country named Germany, and they went through some trying times, some very, very trying times. And it was trying to conquer the world, run ramrod over everything, like some people in America think that America should be ruling the world, the greatest. Anyway, they tell me that there came a time when Germany, all of the money and things that you considered as being money, it would take a wheelbarrow packed with it just to buy a loaf of bread, indicating that whatever they thought was money, whatever they thought was precious, was not as precious as a piece of bread. So we have to think about all kinds of things when we are being asked to make a change in our lives, and what kind of changes we are willing to give. Now, I have heard great arguments about making government work for all. It sounds like more of the same thing that I've always heard. Nothing new. See, I have learned that you cannot fix a corrupt system. The system in reality must be changed and designed to achieve the new ambitions and aspirations. And the promoter must know several approaches to said outcome. Now, I say this because right now we have a whole bunch of people talking about being president of the United States. And many of them are talking about what they're going to do. I remember last election season, you had so many Republicans running, especially when they had someone that they call a demon. They themselves called him a demon, and they just called him a demon based upon the record of his life. They called him a demon based upon the record of his life, and they wanted to disassociate themselves from him as far as they possibly could. Well, what do you think happened? Something happened. We found out that people were distrusting the Republicans, distrusting the Democrats, distrusting everything, and so they were going to try something foreign. What were they going to try? A demon. Let's give the demon a chance. They gave a black man a chance. If you can give a black man a chance, surely you can give a demon a chance. He can't be any worse than a black man. And so now they got this demon there. Now, being closely associated with the failing system, even in trying to maintain the fairness of such, it does not qualify one alone with the vision to create the system everyone is proud of, that works for everyone. So what I'm saying, when these people come to you and say, Democrats now, I want to be your president, they are pissed. They know everybody has gotten a good dose of the devil. They know everybody has gotten a good dose of the devil, the voice of the devil, and all those people who call the devil who are now siding with the devil. So they figure the public might be ready now for something else. Nothing new. The same politics, but different individuals who might say, I can do this, I want to do this. And what do they say they want to do? They want to make sure that everybody got education. They want to make sure that people got housing and jobs and the abilities to do these kinds of things. They all say that. Even the devil Trump, for those who call Trump a devil, said that. They all say that. Why? Because they know what you need. They know what you want. They know what's important to you, because the same things that are important to you is the same thing that's important to them. And so they make you these promises without any idea of how to produce it. So I'm saying to myself and say to you that when you hear somebody says, I want to make sure that everybody get an education in this country, you should ask them, how you going to do that? And if they say, well, I got to go work on it, then you say, well, go work on it and come back and tell me. Have some town hall meetings that says, how you going to get everybody educated? When you start talking about making sure everybody got health care, tell the public what you going to do to make sure and guarantee that everybody can have health care. Let them know what your plan is. Get them engaged in your plan, not no people who have sold their duties and respect out to people who got money. No, this American people, let them know. What are you going to do to guarantee that I can have health care if I need it? My neighbor, my family, everybody can have. What are you going to do? You say you can do it? Prove it before you get in office. You say you're going to put everybody to work. How you going to do that? I don't want to hear what you saying you're going to do that. You want my vote? Before you get my vote, I want you to tell me how in the world are you going to put everybody to work. And you make sure that every turkey that comes before you saying they're going to do that, they explain it to you. Not only explain it to you, that they explain it to you and you agree with it. If you don't agree with it, throw them out the door. Now, so ladies and gentlemen, I'm just trying to give you some things that you got to think about to protect yourself. So if anyone feel they are qualified to handle these such feats that I've mentioned here, let them prove it. Now, Trump said he could fix it all. He did, didn't he? Is he fixing anything? Now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to ask you another question. You heard that Jesus was offered control of the world if he just let the devil be the boss. You know what that meant? That whatever God had planned for the world, Jesus, who came from God, was now going to give allegiance like the angels did in heaven, like Adam did in the garden. He wanted Jesus to give that same allegiance. Well, Jesus wasn't having it. So what that means to all of us is that all of the things in the world that God, well, let me just tell you first of all what that meant when he offered, what Jesus, that statement of Jesus' resistance meant. The devil says, I offer you these things. You remember when the disciple asked Jesus about paying taxes, and Jesus said, render to Caesar that which is Caesar's, and to God that which is God? Well, see, what Jesus was telling Satan, you don't have anything to give me. All of this stuff that is on earth is already mine. Not only is it mine, it belongs to everybody, but they don't know it because you got blinders over their eyes. I know it. And so his resistance was a message to all of us, even to Satan. And so by doing that, the world, if they practice Jesus, Jesus says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. If the world knew, if the world had faith, if the world trusted Jesus' way, they would have walked out of this bondage so long ago as a crying shame. But they didn't believe it. They step further and further and further away from the truth, and people who wanted to use what the biblical perspectives have given us to their advantage, to exploit, to lie, to cheat and steal, to empower Satan even more. They started preaching that. And now you got people locked up in churches, doing all these kinds of things, my friend, and have no idea of what love is, what God is, and what God wants. Now I got it here. Why did you, let's see. Okay. I think I'm going to make another note here. Also trust in government. I just heard something on social media a moment ago. Somebody who represents that big liar. See, look at this here, ladies and gentlemen. There's some people that comes on TV, and they want to down every institution that have been set up to basically protect the people. Now, I want to tell you, every institution got a measure of corruption in it. Every institution got a measure of corruption in it. So these people who have their own ideals, who have now partnered, the ones who call that candidate a demon, a devil, they want to partner with him now. Don't ask me. Basically, the only thing I can think of is that they themselves have been exposed. And so now they're trying to grab onto a lifeline. And that lifeline is that demon that gets on the TV and tell you one thing and swear to God he didn't say it the next day, and tell you he loves you and he's a bigot and he's a hater. And these other demons who support him don't know it or don't care. This demon told the folks that he was prejudiced. He told them that he didn't like people of color. He told them the only thing he was for was the people that looks like them. Now, he didn't say that in words per se, but he said it in action. And now all of his supporters say, that's us, that's us. So we got to get him into office, and we don't care what we got to do to stand against the powers that would keep him out. Now, you got people who've watched him. I heard somebody say today that Trump has said that something happened out of place with the FBI and the Justice Department, and that they should be investigated, and all this happened. They should go through there and destroy it, and all of this. That's what they're saying. And here we have a man who has been so associated with a foreign government, more so than he has over here, because now he resents this government for recognizing that he's a crook, and they decided to take his hands off, their hands from him, and now he's reaching out to someone else for his glory, and trying to dismantle the institutions that have been set up to protect this nation, and release what holes we have, or this government have, on another government that he's trying to deal with, and don't want the people to investigate him. But he wants to investigate because people decided to investigate him. And all of us know people who are not trying to go with his lies, people who are not trying to protect this demon. We see it. We see exactly what he's doing. And yet, you got these people who are trying to, I mean, even the Vice President of the United States, the Congress, especially Republicans, and they are trying to do all these things. And at a time when we are celebrating a man who gave his life, he gave his life to make a change. It started off with voting rights. It started off with getting people to be respected and treated based upon the Constitution of the United States. But ladies and gentlemen, I want you to know that when I speak to you, I'm not speaking in terms of the Constitution of the United States. Why? Because personally, I have no more respect for the people who sat down and came up with this Constitution of the United States than I do with the people sitting up in Congress. They're the same kind of people. The people sitting up in your state houses, your legislators, the ones that says it's okay for you to work for less than minimum wage, the ones that says it's okay to raise taxes so other people can be super wealthy and throw their benefits in banks till it overflows and then put the rest of it in countries elsewhere. These are kinds of things, ladies and gentlemen, that don't even measure up. It don't even measure up. Here's Dr. King saying, we want to make these things better for people. I'm trying to say, you can't fix this system. It almost seems like when Dr. King was speaking, he was saying, fix this system. That the system wasn't broken that much. He didn't say it wasn't broken that much. I'm just saying it might have looked like he was saying that. But let's just fix this. I'm saying you can't fix this system. This system is corrupt, and you got to change the system. Now, why do I say the system is corrupt? For those reasons that I mentioned. the way it treats people. Oh, wait a minute, I'm not have to go through that. You know the system is corrupt. I'm not going to even try to explain that. What I am saying to you, though, is this. America's values. I heard a lady today says her name was Kamala. What's that last name? I was listening to people. A lot of the people who want to be president, but Miss Kamala Harris, she has credentials in being a DA, Attorney General, and in Congress. So she would think she's quite familiar with the law and would be able to recognize a whole bunch of things going on. And as I listened to people speak, she seemed the one that at least has some authenticity in what she was talking about. However, I know that it would not be anything but one hell of a task, because unless you can recognize that the system needs to be changed and then go out to try to change it, you ain't doing nothing but wasting your time. She was talking about she would represent America's value. I want you to know America's values are not good enough. America rejected. American values accepted racism, and it still is here. American values accepts bigotry. It's still here. American value accepts deception, theft and murder, lack of life and substance that's required for survival. America's value accepts that. All our lifetime, it has accepted that. Now, look at my hair. I'm an old man. Just think about it. I used to be a little baby, almost like the size of a sheet of paper. Everybody loved me, they said. You know how they kissed the little baby. Now I'm an old tail man. Went through all the struggles that everybody else have to go through here who have been left out. And for some strange reason, something happened to me that allows me to still see the way I see. And I come to you, the American people, over all these years, and I share with you things that I have seen. And let me tell you why. When I speak to you, I don't think about things that just work for men, or things that just work for black people, or things that just work for Americans. I think about things that work for every human being on earth. I think about the only way that could have been possible, and that could only be possible because there was a God who put that work that man can't do, did it already, made the earth, the dirt. I don't know how he made dirt. I don't know how he put it together and made a ball. I don't know how he dug a hole in it and made water. I don't know how he put holes, took that dirt and made mountains. I don't know how he made the trees and the grass and the food and all that kind of stuff that grows. I don't know how he placed oil in there. I read some books to try to explain it to me. But the oil and the iron and the steel and the gold and the diamonds and the silver and the copper, all that, I don't know how he did it, but he did it. I tell you one thing, man sure didn't do it. And since man didn't do it, it was done by someone for some purpose. And what is the purpose? The purpose is what it has been identified that it can be used for. And what benefit? The benefit of the people. Now that's God Almighty. That's my God Almighty. And in doing it the right way, it's not going to be an American suffering. It's not going to be a person down in Mexico or Guatemala or China or India or Africa or Asia, anywhere. That magnificent God that I'm telling you blind self about. Now open up your eyes and realize that Trump is Satan. Why do I say that? You might get mad because I said he's Satan. What is he doing to benefit you? Is he going to relieve the burdens that you go through? Has he even articulated the possibilities that he might even do that? Even the people that call him demons who are now following him don't expect him to do that. So what I'm telling you about, ladies and gentlemen, on this Dr. King day, this Dr. King moment, I'm saying getting together, having your breakfasts, getting the kids to dance, some break dance or whatever dances they do, getting the band to play some song, and some speakers get up and make a speech about how wonderful Dr. King is and how we should pay more attention to doing things for others, has not done one doggone thing since Dr. King been dead. Dr. King been dead 50 years. And I've been walking around here since those 50 years that Dr. King has been dead, looking at a dead world. And you, my friends, who have profited from it a little bit, the thing that happens most is this. What Dr. King did allowed you to vote, allowed you to step up in society, allowed perhaps for you to get a better job. You know what has happened? Rather than you using what Dr. King had taught in his life to make things better for others, you became just like those people who were satisfied when you were suffering. Now you got a job. You might even have a bank account. And you cannot stand those people who are suffering any more than those people who never cared about you. You hear me? So, if I thought it was possible that I could be president of the United States, if I thought it was possible, I would ask the people to consider making a change in society. I would ask the people to consider eliminating the pain and suffering of society. I would ask the people to consider engaging themselves in a partnership with one another so they can work together doing only those jobs that give you the greatest joy, and look at the completed product as as something 10 times greater than the Mona Lisa, 10 times greater than anything that you think is magnificent. And you, the people, are the benefit of it. I would tell you that the only way that this could happen is for you to support it. For you to stand up in spite of the people that you thought was going to help you. Perhaps these people had in their minds to really help you. But find out in order to be in this particular seat of power, you got to go to the people who run the world to get them to support you. And if you don't get them to support you, you're going to be sitting back at home just like me. I am sitting out here because nobody wants me. Even those of you who say that what I talk about, you don't tell me. But you go to church and you say. But I want you to know, ladies and gentlemen, I got the history of going to the church, telling them about these things, and asking them to come together and let's talk about it, and you got 5 people show up. I got the experience of going knocking on preachers' doors and telling them about this new program that God got for them that I'm bringing to them. They'll tell me, well, we only go Democrat or Republican. I got the evidence of talking to people who say, oh, you black? You don't know anything about government? Let me show you something. You might say I don't know anything about government, but I guarantee you everybody that you put in government doesn't know one doggone thing about peace and prosperity and joy of life for everybody on earth. Not a single one of them know it. Which one of them have ever said that they understood that and wanted to do something like that? They ain't even tell that lie. But ladies and gentlemen, I've cried many times. I sat up this morning and I was thinking about Dr. King and how he committed himself. And I think about the kids today, young people who are still aspiring to do great things, who want to go to school but can't go to school because the devil say you got to pay money, and they ain't got the money. And their family, for one reason or another, were not engaged in getting that money. I'm thinking about the people who want to go to the doctor for a small thing, and they can't even pay the co-payment. I went to the doctor today, my co-payment had jumped up so high. I sat there while they were talking, thinking to myself, well, I guess my trips to the doctor are going to be cut back. I guess my trips to the doctor are going to be cut back. Why? Because the devil said, in order for me to go to the doctor, I got to have that money. And you, the American people, agree with it. We have the most people in prison in this country than all of the countries in the world. Why? Because of our system of injustice. That's why. We got people suffering beyond measure, and we still try to convince ourselves that we're the greatest nation on earth, when there are other countries where people can go to school, get education. In fact, some of them are being paid to go to school and get education. What? Where the doors are being opened and anybody want to be in the medical profession, they getting it free. They want people to be able to protect people from sickness. Not in America. Man, you got some sicknesses, they want to charge you $100,000 for a dose. This is America. Your country. Your country. I was brought up in this place, but this definitely isn't my country. But I want to make it my country. In order for me to make it my country, I have to convince you to change. And I'm going to need some help. Because I tell you the truth, ladies and gentlemen. I hear people talking to you about God, but they're not talking about on this side of the plane. On this side of the plane, you can just thank God that you woke up. Thank God that you got a job. God bless you with a job. You got food on your table. All of you can think of wonderful things that God has done for you, but you will never be able to say what you've done for God. Oh, except you say, you sing in the choir. You are a missionary. You're a Sunday school teacher. You work with the youth. And what effect is that having on the people when they come outside of those doors? The same that you're walking out of the door has. You are blind as a bat. Okay, now what does that mean? That means that you might not go out there just lying. You might not just go out there cheating and stealing. You might be a very good person. You do good things, and it means something to you about goodness. But don't you know, haven't you heard, that one of the greatest things that evil uses to get over on others is the absence of the activities of the good people. Good people don't do nothing for serving God. They just don't want to rock the boat. Now, I think I should leave this right now. I didn't want to preach, and I didn't preach. I didn't want to try to be super professional, and I didn't. So I know you have got a lot of complaints you can say about what I've done here, ladies and gentlemen, but that's okay. You know, I've lived a long time, and I've cried. My crying hadn't done any good as far as a change come about. I walked the streets. I've run for public office. It hasn't changed anything. I've been to jail and prisons. It doesn't change anything. I slept in junk yards and in cars and at dumpsters. It still haven't changed anything. I've allowed certain health situations to arrive and let them just overcome me because I didn't have the resources nor were they made available. And so when I look at the world the way it is, I just, like my sister asked me today, well, Eddie, when you've done the best you can, don't you know that God forgive you, you can't change the world? And I can say, what I really tell people like that, because people are always trying to find an excuse. But to me, there is no excuse. People say nowadays that there was really no Jesus Christ. Say that's a metaphor. That's some made-up story to mean something else to somebody else and whatever else it means to them. Well, I've lived long enough to know that if you follow righteousness, it will take you to a certain place. Now, what do I call righteousness? You know what I mean. But if you follow righteousness half the way and then you fall to the side, you are a disgrace to righteousness. So what I'm saying, you got to go all the way. All the way. If going all the way is the thing that solidifies you as being real, then don't be going halfway because you're fake. Go all the way. So if you believe that God is all what I be telling you he is, and a lot of stuff you read in the Bible, if you believe that Jesus is what Jesus said he said is, and that he's the way, then stand up against evil. What is evil? Evil is what people do when you got some and some don't. Evil is poverty, crime and violence, lying, cheating and stealing, killing and terrorism and war. Evil are the consequence. Evil is these things I just mentioned here are the babies of evil. When evil is addressed, this is what come out. This is how you know it's evil. This is what it does. Let me tell you one more time. The pain and suffering of life is brought on by evil. If you were doing good, if you were doing the righteous things, beauty would come out. America is ugly. Ugly, ugly, ugly. Why? Because evil is running rampant over it. And if you took all of the preachers in America and put them in one room and said, God is ready to work with you, you probably see more hell come out of that room than any hell you've seen anywhere. So, ladies and gentlemen, as I told my sister, it's not so much about changing the world as an outset. The first thing you got to do is change yourself. You are a crook. I'm a crook. So once before I can go out there and tell you the effects of crookdom and how to get rid of it, I got to have done it. And having done it, I got to be able to give you some evidence of what the consequences of it is. And I got to tell you in such a way that you can accept it and choose to do it as opposed to stand on the same path. Now, what I say is not going to have that much weight. But what I do will have all the weight. And even if it had no weight at all, my job really is not to make sure that you change. My job is to make sure that I change. When I came into the world, I didn't come in as a twin. And when I leave this world, I'm going out just as an individual as I did when I came in. But how I go out will determine what it was all about. Where I go, if I go any place, and ladies and gentlemen, I must tell you, when it comes down to me, I think that the greatest thing, this is me, I ain't say this was God, I ain't say God told me this. I think the greatest thing that can happen to any human being on earth is when they die, turn to dirt. And if there's anything called spirit, let it join the wind. And no evidence, if you haven't left any, of your getting out of here, being here, have to heck with it. So, am I saying that I'm pissed off with God for doing to us what he's done? No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying I'm here. I've lived here, and I got an opinion, and that is it. In the meantime, make sure if you're going to be here, if you're going to have an afterlife, that you lived this life in such a way that you're not worried about the next one. So until next time, next Martin Luther King Day, this Lady Marcus say, bye-bye.